do, folks? How you doing? Just another quick one. It's about cancer, this one. We're going to do a little touch on cancer, but for a specific reason, because obviously if anybody put the full protocols of everything on the internet, it just gets taken down. Nobody's learned anything. The one who puts it up there gets targeted even further, and people that are standing there saying you should tell everybody everything, they don't give a shit because they just move on to the next fucker. But I wanted to dispel a couple of myths, because there are some ridiculous myths out there that seem to take everybody in. They seem quite plausible until you analyse it, and then you realise it's an absolute crock of shit. And I tell everybody all the time, there are different aspects to everything, but when you look into the system, what they tell you on this internet and the YouTube videos and all those sort of things is usually a crock of shit. It's usually absolute bollocks that they've just fed out there so people go wrong, so people get it wrong, and that's what happens with cancer a lot. I mean, one of the first and most prolific myths out there is all you need to do, that term is fucking ridiculous, all you need to do is alkaline your body. Cancer cannot survive in an alkaline environment. Well, that's a crock of shit. It's an absolute lie. It's wrong. And anybody who's ever put the body into an alkaline state can tell you that didn't cure any cancer. It can't. And I know this for a fact, because when in my early days of studying cures for cancers and learning how to deal with cancer, I had a friend of mine whose wife had cancer, and I'm not going to go into great detail of it, but their main target was the pH, and they got her so bloody alkaline, it was unbelievable, and managed to keep her alkaline throughout the entirety until she unfortunately passed away. It didn't slow the cancer down, it didn't do anything at all, it had zero effect on the cancer. And she was an extremely alkaline environment that the cancer thrived in. So all this, it can't survive in an alkaline environment, unfortunately. And it'd be great if it was true, because literally all we'd need to do is change our diet, and then we wouldn't have cancer anymore. Everybody knows you can't just change your diet and your cancer go away, but so many believe that cancer cannot thrive in an alkaline environment. You know why? Because they saw a meme saying so one day. And there's one of my pet hates. Another one of my pet hates is the term Rick Simpson oil. All you need to do is take some Rick Simpson oil. Well, Rick Simpson? Did he invent any oil? I've never seen any oil that he invented. It's not fucking Rick Simpson oil. It's full spectrum oil, cannabis oil, that he decided he was going to call Rick Simpson oil, because then he could sell it as his brand or whatever. But to my knowledge, unless anybody can tell me if he changed the composition of it at all, I don't follow him, I've never followed him, and I don't really care for anybody who does such things, because all you have to do is take this oil. No, it's not all you have to do. Now, full spectrum oil plays a great role in healing from cancer, but again, it's not all you have to do. There's no all you have to do with cancer. It's quite in depth, and it's quite obviously it's quite fucking severe. So if there was any all you have to do's, then you'd just do the all you'd have to do and you won't have cancer. So beware when anybody's telling you all you have to do in connection with cancer, because it's usually followed by a load of bollocks. And even if one of the components to a protocol, such as full spectrum oil, is there, it's not all you have to do. There's much more to it. It's not difficult with the right knowledge on how to deal with it, but there are specific things you have to do, and it's not always guaranteed. So it's not difficult can then turn into something else. So it's not all you have to do shit, and it's not a one thing fits all. There isn't a cure all to cancer. Different cancers, different protocols. So, and I've seen loads of people come to me, how do you do that? And they get one thing and then run off, and now they think they know how to cure cancer, so they start doing whatever they're doing, and best of luck, and I hope they really do. But if you don't know what you're fucking doing, you can't put yourself out there to other people. And it's took quite a while, and more than one bloody success story for me to go and help other people, which I do. But again, like I say, it's not a simple cure-all, just do this, and it's not a case of, great, tell me how to cure cancer and I can tell you and you know you can cure cancer. It don't work that way. There's much more to it. You got to look at what the cancer is, what you're doing with it, and each protocol individually goes to each and individual type of cancer. For instance, when I got skin cancer, that was treated totally different to when my wife got bone cancer, and which both treated them outside of the hospitals, and we're both fine today. So yeah, mine did come back and I got rid of it again, so it is what it is. The reality is mine came back when my wife had hers, and I was dealing with my wife and neglecting me, so I didn't even think of me anymore. I stopped taking the maintenance protocols I was on, and I just started concentrating on my wife, and that's all I was doing. And then after I got my wife cured, I got a spot of skin cancer come back up, dealt with it straight away. Within a week, the visual side of skin cancer was gone, and now there's no signs at all. And I don't know if there's any cells within me, because I still just keep up the maintenance of it, and it will be washed away clearly, as my wife was dealt with in 3.5 months, and no discernible sign of cancer, because we went for the MRIs after to evidence that there was no sign of discernible cancer, or no discernible sign of cancer within her body, and that's what we did evidence. So like I say, there's no one cure-all, and all these myths of all you have to do, be very careful, because the people's lives are at stake when you start talking about all you have to do, and then people believe that shit and then go and do that, and then that may not have been all they had to do, and what you've done is actually convince somebody that that's literally all they have to do, so they do nothing else, and unfortunately they lose their life. And I don't want to blame you, but it was all your fault. Which of course it would be if you're the one that convinced them that that's all you had to do. So excuse me. So just beware of that shit, because you do have to be very careful when you're talking to folks when they've got the depopulation disease. Sorry, I'm in my mate's van again going to pick up something, so it's bloody noisy. But very useful for what I need it for. Cheers, mate. So yeah, also, yeah, I hear things about, for the heart, all you have to do, if you're having an heart attack, all you have to do is take some cayenne pepper. Well, that's very misleading. I actually did that because I heard that years ago and I had an heart attack, and I thought all I have to do is take some cayenne pepper and that'll stop my heart attack. Yeah, sent the missus to grab me some cayenne pepper from the kitchen and nearly killed myself doing it. How the hell I survived that? And just think for yourself, putting cayenne pepper into your system when your heart is racing, your blood pressure is going through the roof, your heart is totally out of sync, your blood pressure is dangerously high, and then you put cayenne pepper in there. Now I've told people, I've warned people that have fallen for this shit, and usually well, you did it wrong, because what you need to do with the cayenne pepper is put it in water or do this, that, and you're still taking cayenne pepper. Putting it in water doesn't change the fact you've just put something that will send your blood pressure and heart rate through the roof if you put in your system whilst having a heart attack. Putting your blood pressure and your heart rate through the roof is clearly very, very dangerous. All you have to do again, all you have to do's. Now what I can tell you about a heart attack through my own personal experience is multiple times is natural yogurt. Taking natural yogurt settles your heart rate and your blood pressure down by about 10 points when taking it during a heart attack. This I've experienced myself. I did learn this and tried this, and it worked. I don't know whether that's the reason I survived it, but that's one of the things I did. And also immediately what I do, and I'm not telling anybody to do what I do, I'm just telling you what I did during my heart attack. I knew damn well, because the first 2 heart attacks I'd gone to hospital, obviously. The missus took me on the first one, I drove myself on the second one, which is not clever, I know. And the third and fourth I just didn't bother going, because I know damn well what they do. Unless you've got a coronary failure where you're dead, then they will literally sit you in a fucking waiting room, chuck 6 aspirin down you, and then they're going to check your blood pressure, and it's just about thinning your blood, checking your blood pressure, and they literally leave you sitting in a chair nowadays for about 10 bloody hours going, oh, as soon as a bed becomes available, we're going to put you in a bed. Well, on my third and fourth heart attack, I knew damn well what they were going to do. They were going to sit me in a bloody hallway. I was better off and safer at home with my own knowledge, knowing that the trick is to get your blood pressure and your heart rate under control, and then get to bloody sleep, because it's the sleep that reset my heart every time. It was when I was having an heart attack, my heart was out of rhythm until I went to sleep, and once I'd had a sleep, that reset my rhythm. So that was my intention. So immediately on having an heart attack, because like I say, 4 heart attacks I've had, and immediately on having the third and the fourth heart attack, get the missus to grab some yogurt from the fridge, which is always there for this purpose, just in case. A couple of big spoons full of natural yogurt. I took some full spectrum oil immediately, because I know the effects of that, and that's a calming effect, and what I needed to do is calm. I know I needed to sleep, and it's really difficult to go to sleep during an heart attack, as you can imagine. So it's get everything to try and bring me down, and that's what happened. Relaxed enough, nodded off, woke up, heart back in rhythm, not feeling clever. Obviously you're extremely weak for months after an heart attack, months. But the reality is, I say I dealt with it at home, and I don't advocate that shit. Some things we need surgeons for. I have not a lot of respect for doctors, but surgeons, they put us back together. I don't have any respect for the system at all who employ the surgeons, because nurses and surgeons, I believe they give a shit. GPs and other general sort of doctors, I don't think they give a shit. They're all about what big pharma can we pump into you, what can we get. You just, you need this and this, and if we can, we'll get you on this and this as well, and then come and see us a week later and we'll tell you this, and if anything's bad for you and it don't work, we'll swap it. We won't say don't take that, then we'll give you something else instead, because it's about pumping big pharma sales, it's not about your health. But like I say, surgeons, their job basically is get the slave back to being productive, so they put you back together. The premise behind the NHS and medicine in general, like I say, I'm not a fan of. I don't respect them, but surgeons, they are putting you back together, so I have respect for them. And nurses, because basically they're just angels, aren't they? They're trying the very, very best they can to do what they can do in the situation that they're in, and they can't go beyond the scope of what doctors and such like do. So the nurses are just doing everything they can. So you have to take your hat off to them. But like I say, surgeons, they're just making the slave productive again. But when it comes back, to bring that back to oncologists and cancer, I don't get oncologists. I've got a friend who was an oncologist, and his own wife got cancer, and immediately he gave up his job. That tells you everything. And he cured her naturally. Presumably he couldn't have done that if he was still in his job as an oncologist, so he did walk away from that and healed her naturally. Now, if you mention healing cancer, first of all, they'd love to send you to prison for doing so. They'd absolutely love to send you to prison for healing cancer. Well, they can have a pop at that with me if they like. They can go fuck themselves. That's not going to wash with me. But unfortunately, most of you, they will get in prison if you start talking about healing cancer in a way where you're actually saying you can do it, or telling people how to do it. So just be very, very careful. They'll let anybody make a video saying all you have to do is, because they know it's wrong, and they know you're killing people by doing that. So they don't care about that shit. But if the true process was out there, they'd take that down immediately. And if you keep pumping it and shouting it, I'm absolutely sure they'd deal with you. You'd probably suddenly develop a very rare and aggressive form of cancer that can't be stopped, so they can prove then that you died of cancer. And how humiliating would that be to anybody who was following your process? And like, here's how to cure cancer, and oh, there you go, the guy who said it died of cancer. And don't think for 1 minute they won't do that shit. But you do have to push it to quite a degree, I should imagine, to do that, because I've already pushed shit quite far, haven't I? And I'm not dead yet. But I have had heart attacks, and are they attacks? Attacks of the state? Who knows? Those that are close to me do know that I was attacked by the state once, and whether it was repetitive, I don't know. If I hadn't have seen what was going on, I wouldn't have known that time I was attacked. But the reality, those that are close to me do know that I was attacked by the state at one point, and that's when I developed skin cancer. So, hey, it is what it is, but all I can say is, folks, you need to do your due diligence and stop fucking taking memes as gospel. When you read these memes and you think that looks good, or you watch a YouTube video, see, YouTube videos, you're watching one now, don't take it as gospel. And the problem with YouTube videos is a lot of people watch a YouTube video, just believe what they've seen, so they make a YouTube video or a Facebook video, or they make a video or a post about it, and then they tell you all you have to do is, and unfortunately it's those that are telling you all you have to do, they're the ones that really haven't got a clue, and they've just got a single piece of the puzzle from somewhere else and decided it's so important, let's spit it out there and tell everybody needs to know this shit. Well, yes, everybody needs to know shit, but you know, if they did their own due diligence, they'd get to know. So maybe that's the key, our own due diligence. We say it all the time, but when you start doing your own due diligence, you start finding out that some of the things that we've learned aren't actually as true as we thought, and as good as they sound, that's not always the solution. So yeah, but like I say, beware of all you need to do bollocks, and anybody telling you that, especially with cancer, just get your body alkaline. Cancer can't survive in an alkaline environment. Like I say, an absolute crock of shit. And all you need, and Rick Simpson, fucking who's Rick Simpson? Did he even really exist? Or did they just tell you somebody called Rick Simpson, make a few videos with an actor? I'm not saying this, I have no fucking clue. But they can make an old backstory that's so fucking believable, literally everybody falls for the shit, and then they tell you all you need to do is take some Rick Simpson oil. Well, why would they rename it if anybody's using it? I didn't call it Craig oil because I used it. Why would anybody call it their oil, make out that they invented it, when reality is they used full spectrum oil. There's a few names for it, but I call it full spectrum because it is the full spectrum. And not to be mistaken with another thing that's very, very useful in cancer, which is full spectrum CBD oil as well. Now, Orange County do a fucking fabulous one. It's 25,000 milligram, and it's £400 a bottle. It's a 100ml bottle, but that, you check it out, look yourself. Orange County CBD, 25,000 milligram. Write that in a search and it'll come up. It's £400 a bottle. It is fabulous. It's called full spectrum CBD, but that's not full spectrum cannabis oil. It's a very runny, very thin CBD oil that is really, really good. It's very good for many, many things. But and I also have that for my dog. And you're only using just a few drops of it, so it lasts months. The price is pretty much deceiving, because if you get one of the smaller bottles, which is actually cheaper, one of the 30ml bottles of lower strength CBD, you realise that the price, when you calculate that to if that was 100ml, that'd be more than the 400ml one. Hang on a minute. So just have a look and choose what you want, because I use the 25,000ml one for me and the missus, and I use the 12,500ml, or is it 12,000ml, for my dog. So entirely up to you what you do. And obviously full spectrum oil, which is THC and CBD. As well as that, there are other things to do as well, but you have to be very, very, very careful as to what you use and how you do it. Like I say, due diligence always. And I could sit on here and blur everything, but sitting on here and blurring everything don't tell you anything, because some of the things I do, I make myself, like CDS. I make it myself. You can't fucking get it. If you get that, it's got to stay refrigerated. So anybody tells you they send it to you in the post, they're just not, are they? It's just simple as that. And as well as that, here's a really important thing I'm going to cover now. Full spectrum oil. People who make oil, and this is the thick tar oil. This is the full spectrum cannabis oil from the plant cannabis. Now, there's much bullshit goes on about that, and there's so many people make oil. Now, I don't know if I've said it before on a video, but this is really, really important. Anybody can make some cannabis oil, but if you don't do your due diligence and do it properly, you can't tell, but it's absolutely useless for cancer. And let me tell you why. In the plant, I mean, some do it with the stem and the leaf of the plant because it's cheap and they can make it really, really cheap. Well, that's shit anyway. don't accept that shit. And they're the ones where you say, oh, I can get 100 mil of it or 10 mil of it, sorry, for 100 quid. Oh, well, you just can't. You just can't. It takes more than that to produce it if it's done right. So if it's done with pure bud, which it should be, and the bud has been grown naturally, organic, without any food, and I mean, you can't feed the plants and all that plant food that you give it, and there's some great plant foods out there. I don't even give a shit if it's called organic, or you flush it afterwards, you're not making good oil. You have to do it, as far as I'm concerned, with live soil. It's an expensive way of doing it, and your yield is less, which is what makes it all a more expensive process. So the yield is less because you've not getting all the bulking agents, the foods and the chemicals. You get where I'm going? The chemicals make it grow. GMO. You're GMO-ing the crop if you're giving it chemicals. You're doing it yourself. You do it in live soil and give it just proper, clean, purified water all its life and never put a chemical into it. Then you're starting to produce a good plant, but then you make your oil out of bud only. Now there's still a problem. When you make it like that, and I would say 99.99999% of people making cannabis oil make it just like that, and they make it with THCA as opposed to THC, because they don't know about the next part of the process, which I say to everybody, even the ones making it for cancer. I say to them, decarboxylate it, and they go, oh yeah, and I say, oh, what process do you use? Because there is only one. But I don't say that bit. What process do you use? And so try that when you say to somebody, if you're getting your oil from somebody, do you decarboxylate it? And they say yes. Ask them how they do it. And then when you've asked them how they do it, come to me and ask me how you do it, and I'll fucking tell you. And if they've told you different, and you need to tell me, because I'm not just going to say it, because you then start putting it out there, and then we can't catch the ones that are doing it wrong. If they don't decarboxylate it, they're giving you THCA in it, which is no good for cancer. It must be decarboxylated, which converts the THCA to THC. Now it's good for cancer. Only if it's been grown clean, pure, no fucking GMO shit in it. So you've got to be very, very careful. It does make it more expensive oil, obviously, because it's done right, but all these people who get it cheap are not getting decarboxylated oil, which means they are not getting THC, they're getting THCA and CBD. It is absolutely no good for cancer. Good for recreational use, no good for cancer. So, and many other illnesses that people take it for. So just query and question your source. And if you are somebody who's actually making it, and you're making it for good purposes, and you honestly want to make sure it's out there right, come talk to me. Genuinely, come talk to me. I'm not just going to be answering you fucking messenger messages saying how do you do this. But if somebody's genuinely making it for that purpose, I'm happy to talk to you and talk you through the process so you do it right. But I'm not just going to take 1,000 people coming to me going, how do you do this? And then I've got to go through it over and over again just for people who want to know, so they can go, oh, if you're not doing it, you don't need to know. The point you start doing it, come talk to me, but only if you're doing it properly. Am I interested in going through that? Because every time I say something on here, I'll get hundreds of people suddenly asking me the question, how do I do that? I will have a fucking Zoom call and chat to 100 different people, 100 hours just to cover one thing. And like I say, if you're giving the proper processes out on YouTube, they just get fucking took down. And most people know this, but they're still there saying, you should tell everybody everything. I do. I'll tell anybody absolutely anything I fucking know in the right setting. But just because I don't shout about literally everything I know on YouTube or on Facebook, there is a genuine reason for that. But at the same time, I can't just give away every waking moment. Everybody wants an hour of my time, and it's just an hour of my time. But all them hours take up all of my time, plus more I haven't got. So if it's for the right reason, happy to tell you, happy to go into it. But decarboxylation, if you're not decarboxylating or you're getting cannabis oil cheap, I guarantee it's not going to be decarboxylated. There's absolutely no way at all of proving one way or the other by looking at it. Looking at it, tasting it, only by sending it to a laboratory can you find out if it's been decarboxylated. So, like I say, it's a really important process for cancer, and most people who are dealing with it and making the oils do not do it. And it's a ball ache. It's an absolute fucking pain in the arse to do. It's so intensive decarboxylating your oil that I can see why people won't do it. I did some a few weeks ago. I made some, and the decarboxylation process, it's ball aching. And I've done it obviously many times before, but it is an absolute ball aching process that people just, if they knew how to do it, most of them wouldn't be asked to do it, because you can't just set something running and walk away. You're literally intensive, time consuming, and 100% concentration without breaking your concentration for hours. So yeah, it is an absolute nightmare. But anyway, folks, I'm going to leave it there, a bit on health, and I hope folks are staying healthy. Like, I do help people with cancers and other illnesses and other things, but it isn't something you can just do by blah blah on the internet. It can't be done by the internet. It has to be a face-to-face, and it isn't something I scream and shout about for obvious reasons, but bearing in mind I can do it, I do it, and I do help folks. But on that note, I'm going to bugger off, and hopefully some folks have learned a bit of shit and stop those that are not intentionally, but I mean, what do you say? Do you accuse somebody of killing people if they just do it wrong and start throwing shit oil about? No, but they're not helping folks, and they're giving people false hope, when in reality they could have carried on this search and found somebody who can tell them how to do it properly. So it is very, very sad, really. But it is the sign of the times. People just want to grab something and heal themselves on a meme, and you can't do that. If you've got cancer, the alternative to death is a little bit more involved than just doing this or just doing that, all you have to do. So cancer doesn't have to be a death sentence, that's a fact. But if you're just not going to do your due diligence and you're just going to listen to the first meme you see or the first YouTube video you see, you ain't going to help yourself either. So folks, like I say, due diligence, it's your life. So if your life's on the line, it absolutely has to be worth your due diligence. It has to be. So do your due diligence, please. Yeah, hey, quite a polite one this time for a change, wasn't it? Not even a rant. But do beware of false heroes. You are your own hero. You are your own saviour. Don't have anybody as your saviour. Some people have right knowledge, some people have right equipment. You can use them for what you use them for, but you are the one doing everything. You are the one doing everything. The people like me, we can only tell you and help you by helping you get your body in a place where it can deal with itself. Your body heals itself. People like me don't heal you of cancer. People like me can just help you get your body in a condition where you can heal your cancer. Your body can do it naturally, because that's what it's about. Your body can actually help itself, but it's been attacked for so many bloody years and constantly being attacked. Let's face it, cancer is sugar. Cancer is most illnesses and diseases fucking sugar, and now GMO shit that they're injecting people with, and bad vaccinations and such like. But that's for another video, isn't it? But they're created. All cancers, as far as I'm concerned, are created. They're putting shit, or they're getting you to put shit in your body that creates free radicals. They're not doing it to you. You're the one putting the shit in your body because you're not doing the due diligence to find out that sugar's cancer, or various things that they're giving you are cancer. So be careful, folks, and be careful of what you put in your body. It is always you. And if you take something because you like it, or you give something your kids because they like it, and you're not doing your due diligence on it, you're always doing it to yourself. They're not doing it to us. All they do is make the suggestions for us to pick up that. Sorry about the sun behind, but that's that. Anyway, folks, as said, I'm pulling up to where I'm going to anyway. So here I am. Have a good one, folks, and stay bloody healthy. Ta-da.